did that. What is it? What is it? سأل الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم أتدري ما حق العباد؟
No, look down, look down.
What?
Oh, you are.
Okay. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. So we continue, inshallah, as we did yesterday. We are going to start with the conversation, inshallah, and then we're going to go into the book, the other book with the rulings and so on. Yesterday we stopped at not this one here, right? Before here, right? We stopped here. So we have to do the fifth lesson. I think the fifth conversation, right? This is where we have to continue, inshallah. The sisters are seeing the presentation, right? Okay. So we have Al-Wahda. We're still in the Al-Wahdatul Ula, the first unit, and on the same Ad-Darsu Al-Awwal. Now, remember this book is this. These pages are the summarized page, right? So the page number and so on are going to be matching up. Al-Hiwarul Khamis, the fifth conversation, right? You mentioned Hiwar, conversation. Now, where the word is present in the Quran, in Surah Al-Kahf, right? قال له صاحبه وهو يحاوره. So يحاور is the verb to conversate, and the conversation is the hiwar, right? So the verb يحاور and the noun for the verb, they call it the masdar or the verbal noun, is the conversation. That's the hiwar, right? And we're going to do a little glimpse into that later on in the book. But as we come across them, we're going to introduce it. Prepare the brain for it, inshallah ta'ala. Unzur wastami' wa'a'id. Unzur, look at the conversation, wastami' and listen, wa'a'id and repeat. So this is a conversation between Ahmad and Badr, right? هذا حوار بين أحمد وبدر. This is a conversation between Ahmad and Badr. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Ahmad, he say, هذا أخي. Right? He's pointing to someone. He's saying, هذا أخي. This is my brother. هو مدرس. هو مدرس. He is a teacher. هذا أخي. هو مدرس. This is my brother. He is a teacher. One second. I think the sisters and okay, we have a little. Give me 1 second. Let me see what's happening here. Okay, we have a. What are you guys seeing here? Okay. I see what's happening. Okay, one second. Why is it not synchronized? It's good now? Okay. Okay. You guys have to make sure it's on this screen, is on the screen in case I don't notice. Okay, so Al-Hiwar al-Khamis, so conversation between Ahmad and Badr. So Ahmad, he is pointing to someone, he's saying, Hada akhi, right? This is my brother, huwa mudarrisun. He is a teacher. Remember, is, are those words, right? They're not there in Arabic. Literally, this, he, teacher, Badr, he said, Ahlan wa sahlan, right? Welcome. There is an expression for welcome. Ahmad, Hada Sadiqi, huwa muhandisun. Ahmad is saying, Hada Sadiqi, huwa muhandisun. This is my friend. Sadiq, friend. Sadiqi, my friend. Right? Huwa muhandisun. He is a, what is a muhandis? Engineer, right? Ahmad, you got to make sure you get a notebook and write down everything. The brother, he said, Ahlan wa sahlan. So, Ahmad introduced his brother to Badr, and the brother and Ahmad introduced his brother to Badr, and also he introduced Badr to his brother. But who is the friend? Right? You look confused. Right? Ahmad introducing his brother to Badr. So who is the friend? Badr. And then he introduced Badr to his brother. Right? He introduced Badr to his brother, which is friend. There's only 3 persons there.
He said brother and brother.
Right? Badr.
Yeah.
Right? Huwa muhandis. So Ahmad's brother is a teacher, and his friend is a engineer. So who's the engineer? No, what's the name of the engineer? Badr. Right? Badr. Ahmad, he said, Ma'as salama, they give farewell, Ma'as salama. Ma'as salama, literally, right, with peace and security, but it's a means of the way they give farewell, right? You say, see you later, have a good day, those kind of things. Al-Hiwarus Sadis. Al-Hiwarus Sadis. The 6th lesson. Unzur wastami' wa'a'id. Look and listen and repeat. So this is a conversation now between Nada and Huda and one of their sister. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Huda, Nada, she say, Hadihi ukhti. Right? This is my sister. Now when he was saying this is my brother, brother is masculine, he say Hada akhi. She's pointing to her sister now. Hadihi ukhti. This is my sister. So anything you want to say my brother, you say akhi. Anything you want to say my sister, you say ukhti. Hiya tabibatun. She is a doctor. Right? Hiya tabibatun. She is a doctor. Huda, she say ahlan wa sahlan. Then Nada, she is introducing her friend now to her sister. Hadihi sadiqati. This is my friend. Now, certain words in Arabic is a descriptive word, right? Certain words, they are descriptive words. They are not like a fixed thing. Now, descriptive words, whether it comes as an adjective or whether it comes as a noun, it has to match the gender of what you're talking about. Right? So, when the brother was saying, this is my friend, he said, Hada sadiqi. Right? He used the male version of friend. And when the sister is saying, this is my friend, she say, Hadihi sadiqati. Right? Sadiqati. She add that, you use that ta. You say sadi. The word by itself for the female friend, sadiqatun. With the ta marbuta. Now when you add something to it, the ta marbuta change back to a ta maftuha. Right? The closed ta, the wrong ta. When you add something to it, it becomes the open ta, so you can merge. Clear? Hiya talibatun. She is a student. Right? Hiya talibatun. She is a student. Now, if we were to say he is a student, we're going to say huwa talibun. Right? Huwa talibun. Now, these are all descriptive words. Now, don't try to understand how you figure out what is a descriptive word and what is not a descriptive word at this moment. As you get into the language, and also the meaning is generally the same in English, right? You're going to figure it out. But the reason I'm bringing this is just to understand why the same word, one time there is a ta on it, and sometimes there is no ta on it. So for example, if I want to say somebody is a book, right? Possible, right? Or you call it, what you call it in English? You call it a metaphor, right? He's a scholarly person, and you want to say he's a book. Now a book is a descriptive word? No. It's a fixed word, so there's no gender with the book. You can't change the gender. So you say, he is a book, huwa kitab, and she is a book, hiya kitab. You're not going to say hiya kitabatun. Right? You're not going to change, because book is not officially a descriptive word. It's going to stick to the gender. That is what I meant. But things like teacher, right? There's a description, right? Red, black, big, white, small, ugly, beautiful, right? All of those are descriptive word. Right? Ma'a salama, right? With peace. That is how they farewell, right? See you later, have a good day, right? That's the equivalent. Al-wahda al-thaniya, the second unit. Right? This word here, al-ard. Ard is anything that you present. Anything that you display. So this entire thing here is a display, right? The conversation is a display, a presentation. An ard, right? Anything that you put out. Yu'rad, right? Yawma yu'raduna ala nari jahannam, right? Yu'rad from ard. Today they're going to be put forward and towards the fire of Jahannam. So here is a hiwarun bayna Ali wa Ammar. A conversation, hiwarun, conversation, bayna, between Ali wa Ammar, right? Between Ali and Ammar. Ali, assalamu alaykum. Ammar wa alaykum assalam. Ali, هذه سورة أسرتي. هذه سورة أسرتي. This is, surah means image or picture. That's the word? It's picture or picture? Which one? Huh? Picture. And where's the picture? Where's the picture, Ahmad? Huh? There's the next one. Or the thing you'd put water inside, right? Right? This is an image, or this is the image of my usrati, my family. Right? This is the image of my family. Now, note, this is the of construction come back again. Right? The book of Allah, the speech of Allah. Right? The pen of the teacher. Right? So this is the image of my family. So know the first word, no alif and lam, single vowel. Right? No alif and lam, single vowel. Now the second word is attached to the pronoun. So you're not going to really see you're not going to, when it's attached, you're not going to necessarily see the ending vowel sometimes. Here you can see it. Usra, usra, usrati. هذه سورة أسرتي. In this word is a tricky word. Why? Because anything you add a ya to a word, it's going to default turn to kasra. Right? It's going to default turn to kasra. This is the picture or the image of my family. Ammar, mashallah. Right? A statement used for when you are amazed at something good that is being said or being done, or even something good that you see. Amazing. One, you can use, you say mashallah as an expression. Right? Now, literally, mashallah, what does it mean? Ma means what? Right? Masmuk, what is your name? In this context, ma means what? Sha'a means he willed. Sha'a means he willed. Like kataba, he wrote. Right? Sha'a, he willed. And Allah is Allah. Now remember, verb has a built-in doer. But when you put it with a noun or a name, right, you're not going to mention the he or the she, the pronoun for the verb. So, Sha Allah literally means Allah willed. Right? It means Allah willed. So the statement literally means what Allah willed. What Allah willed. Now this here is technically a question, what Allah willed. But you're not intending the question, you're not intending a question. What you're intending? You're intending an exclamation. Like what he did. You understand? You know, when you see somebody did something bad, right? And you say what he did. You want somebody to answer you? No, you don't want somebody to answer you. That's exclamating. Right? That's the phrase in Arabic. Right? So that's Masha Allah. Man hadha? Ammar. Now Ammar is asking, who is this? Who is this? Man, who? Hadha, this. Right? Man hadha, who is this? Ali, he said, Hadha walidi. This is my father. Right? Walidi, my father. So another word for father is walid. So the word by itself for father is walid. My father, walidi, Adnan. Right? This is my father, Adnan. His name is Adnan. Huwa muhandis. He is a muhandis. He is an engineer. Ammar, he asks, Waman hadhihi, and who is this? Now when he say, now both of this in English, man hadha, who is this? Waman hadhihi, and who is this? Both of it in English translate to mean who is this, who is this. But because he say هذا, you know he's pointing to a male image, right? A male figure. When he say هذه, you know he's pointing to a female figure. Ali, he say هذه والدتي سعيدة. هذه والدتي سعيدة. This is my mother سعيدة. This is my mother سعيدة. هي طبيبة. She is a doctor. هي طبيبة. Ammar, he say, وَمَنْ هَذَا? And who is this? So now he's pointing to a male figure again. Ali, هَذَا أَخِي عِيسَى. This is my brother Isa. هو طالب. He is a student. He is a student. Right? For this is those who don't have the book or the copy, make sure you print a copy, right? 38, it's just 38 pages. So you can write down the full translation of the sentences, right? Especially if you don't know the meaning, the full translation. And as I said, memorize it as it is. So like for example, هذه والدتي سعيدة. You know هذه means this. والدتي means my mother. سعيدة is سعيدة. Don't memorize individual words. Memorize the entire thing. هذه والدتي سعيدة. This is my mother سعيدة. هذه والدتي سعيدة. And repeat it a few times. Right? هي طبيبة. She is a doctor. وَمَنْ هَذَا? And who is this? هَذَا أَخِي عِيسَى. This is my brother Isa. هو طالب. He is a student. هو طالب. He is a student. Ammar say وَمَنْ هَذِهِ? And who is this? Ali. هَذِهِ أُخْتِي عَبْلَةٌ. This is my sister عَبْلَةٌ. Here she is مُعَلِّمَةٌ. A teacher. Here مُعَلِّمَةٌ. She is a teacher. Now note all right true is he is a, she is a, right? None of them has alif and lam, right? Now we did the alif and lam before. Now let's add the alif and lam to it. Now the context does not suit for alif and lam, right? So if you were to add alif and lam here, you're going to say huwal muhandis. He is the engineer. Right? Now, it doesn't suit the context because it's not like you were talking about an engineer and you say he is the engineer, meaning the engineer what you are talking about. If you say hiya at-tabiba, right? Hiya at-tabiba. She is the doctor, right? Huwa at-talibu. He is the student. Here they are all with tanween. Huwa muhandisun. If you pronounce the last vowel, you put the al. هو المهندس. هي طبيبة. You put the al. هي الطبيبة too, right? هي الطبيبة. You have to, if you put the alif and lam now, you got to join the ya straight to the ta because of the sun letter. هو طالب. هو الطالب. If you add the alif and lam. وهذا جدي وهذه جدتي. And this is my grandfather. And this is my grandmother. هذا جدي وهذه جدتي. عمار ما شاء الله. الحوار الثاني, the second conversation under the second unit. انظر, look, واستمع, listen, وأعد, and repeat. Umar, he say, هل هذه شجرة? Now conversation between Umar and Uthman. هذه is this. شجرة means tree, right? So without the hal, هذه شجرة gonna mean this is a tree. You're putting an al on this word here. It's gonna be هذه الشجرة. This is the tree. Now you add hal, makes it a question. Is this a tree, right? We did the al and the ha yesterday. The a, sorry. Uthman, he said, Na'am, هذه شجرة. Yes, this is a tree. هذه أسرة الرسول. This is, Usra means what? Family, right? Usratur Rasuli, the family of the messenger. Right? Now we back to the structure we studied yesterday, right? The composition of the of composition. Like if you say something of something or the apostrophe S, and we said a general name for that composition or structure, you call it al-mudaf wal-mudaf ilay. So if you hear that terminology in Arabic, you're referring to this composition or structure. Right? This is Usratur Rasuli, the family of the messenger. Umar sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Right? Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. May the salat and salam of Allah be upon him. Adhan? Okay, let's pause for the. Okay, let's pause for the adhan and then we're gonna continue. Abdul Rahman, you want to call adhan? Flip on the mic. Uthman, he say, هذا waliduhu Abdullah. So he is explaining the tree. هذا والده عبد الله. Now, walid we mentioned before means father. Who here means him. Right? So this is his father. هذا والده. This is his father, Abdullah. Meaning Abdullah is the name of the father. Right? Umar. وهذه والدته آمنة. And this is his mother, Amina. And this is his mother, Amina. Uthman, he says, وَهَذَا جَدُّهُ عَبْدُ الْمُطَّلِبِ. Right? And this is his grandfather, جَدُّهُ, his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib. وَهَذَا عَمُّهُ Al-Abbas. وَهَذَا عَمُّهُ. Am is, right, paternal uncle, your father's brother. Right? Am is your father's brother. And this is his father's brother, his uncle, Al-Abbas. وَهَذَا عَمُّهُ Hamza. And this is his uncle, Hamza. Right? Another uncle. وَهَذَا عَمُّهُ Hamza. وَهَذِهِ عَمَّتُهُ صَفِيَّةٌ. وَهَذِهِ عَمَّتُهُ. And this is, Amma is going to be aunt, right? This is his aunt, Safiya. This is his aunt, Safiya. They, from his father's side, right? وَهَذَا ابْنُهُ الْقَاسِمِ. وَهَذَا ابْنُهُ الْقَاسِمِ. Right? If you read it together. وَهَذَا ابْنُهُ. And this is his son, Al-Qasim. وَهَذَا ابْنُهُ Abdullah. And this is his son, Abdullah. Uthman. وَهَذَا ابْنُهُ Ibrahim. And this is his son, Ibrahim. وَهَذِهِ ابْنَتُهُ Fatima. Right? This kasra here, all of these are the Hamzatul Wasl. Right? You only pronounce it if you're starting on the word. You can say ibnatuhu, but if you start from before the word, you can say وَهَذِهِ ابْنَتُهُ. Right? And this is his daughter Fatima. وَهَذِهِ ابْنَتُهُ رُقَيَّةٌ. Right? وَهَذِهِ ابْنَتُهُ رُقَيَّةٌ. And this is his daughter Ruqayya. وَهَذِهِ Zainab. And this is Zainab, another daughter. وَهَذِهِ ابْنَتُهُ Kulthum. And this is his daughter Kulthum. Right? That's her name, Kulthum. You're not going to translate that, right? You're not going to say mother of Kulthum. No, her name is Kulthum. Right? Because you leave it like that. Even though it's technically the mother of Kulthum. But name like, for example, Abu Bakr. You know, say the father of Bakr came, right? Abu Bakr came, right? That's he's known by that entire phrase. Okay, we're gonna take one more conversation, inshallah. Okay, let's take it before the salah, right? And after the salah, we're gonna do the book, the other book, inshallah. So this is a conversation between the al-um, the mother, and al-ab, the father. Now al-um and al-ab, it's two other names you can refer to your mother and father. And these are more what do you call it? More common for English speakers, yeah. But in the Arab, for the Arab is the same with that. But if you want to say it like more softer, more polite, if you gotta say, if you have to speak to your father, it's gonna be better if you say ya abi or ya ummi if you're speaking to your mother than to say ya walidi or ya walidati, right? It's gonna be more polite. And if you say ya abati is even more polite. Not that the other one is necessarily disrespectful, but depending on the culture, right? Now, the word walid and walida, it came from walad, right? Walada means he begot, right? He begot, yeah, he begot. And waladat means she begot, meaning give birth to a child, begot a child. So the male who begot is the walid, and the female who begot is the walida, which is technically the male who begot is the father, and the female who begot is the mother, right? So it's not the name. These two words are walid and walida are referring to the parents from that angle. You understand? Compared to ab and it's more, it's referring to them more from the angle of, what do you call it? The angle of the ties of kingship and more, it's more compassionate and so on. So the she say, هذا أذان الفجر. This is the adhan of al-fajr, means salat al-fajr. Right? Note again, the mudaf ilay construction is here again. This is the adhan of fajr. Right? No alif and lam, one vowel, fajr, take a kasra. Right? Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Aina al-awlad. Aina, where? Al-awlad, the children. Right? Aina al-awlad, where are the children? Sa'adun fil hammami. Sa'ad, fi, in, al-hammam, washroom. Sa'ad is in the washroom. Yatawadda'u. Right? Making wudu. Right? Yatawadda'u, he is making wudu. He makes wudu. Right? Yatawadda'u. Sa'ad is in the washroom making wudu. So this is the verb to make wudu. He is making wudu. Yatawadda'u. Wa aina Sa'id? And where is Sa'id? Sa'idun fil ghurfati yaqra'ul Qur'an. Sa'idun is in the al-ghurfati means the room. Right? Al-ghurfati means the room. Yaqra'u, he is reading al-Qur'an, the Qur'an. Right? He is reading the Qur'an. Yaqra'ul Qur'ana. Wa ayna Sa'ida? And where is Sa'ida? Sa'idatu fil musalla tusalli. Sa'ida is in the musalla, the praying place. Tusalli, praying, right? She is praying in the musalla. Wa ayna al-mi'tafu ya Sa'ad. Ayna al-mi'taf is jacket. Where is the jacket? Ya Sa'ad. Oh Sa'ad. Right? We did ya yesterday, right? Ya Mu'adh. Oh Mu'adh. Hadha huwa al-mi'taf. Right? This is the mi'taf. This huwa here is a form of emphasis. Right? We're going to deal with this later on. But for now, if you were to say hadha al-mi'taf, it means this is the jacket. Hadha huwa al-mi'taf, this is the jacket. Right? In English, both of them is the same. Ya walidi, oh my father. Wa ayna an-nadharatu, and where is the nadhara is the glasses, your spectacles, right? هذه هي النظارة. This is the nadhara. This is the eyeglasses or the spectacle. Hayya bina ila al-masjid. Hayya bina means let go, right? Let's go. Just know that expression, that full expression means let's go. Hayya bina. Let's go ila al-masjid, to the masjid. Hayya bina, let's go. Hayya bina ila salah. So after, inshallah, 5:30, we're gonna commence, inshallah ta'ala. Make sure everything is running. We started this lesson here, right? Al-mu'minu al-qawi wal-jalis as-su. As-salih, sorry. Al-mu'min al-qawi wal-jalis as-salih. Right? We said we had a typo there. And which there was a next slide in the first chapter. If you go back to the first chapter, there's slight translation accuracy here, right? Huwa al-ghani, right? He is the rich, right? Huwa al-ghani, he is the rich, not he is rich, right? Al-ghani, huh?
We have one more in the third lesson.
خلق الله. There's which one? Oh, that's the next week. I'm gonna. Okay.
But in the translation, it doesn't have Allah.
So we huwa al-ghani, right? Make wherever you notice, let me know, inshallah. So there is which one? The third chapter. Haqqul ibadi ala Allah. Atadri ma? Do you know what is the ma haqqul ibadi ala Allah? I don't. Where is it? Show me. What's missing?
You didn't put Allah in the translation.
Do you know what is the servant, the right of the servants? Okay, the Allah. Okay. Do you know what is the right of the servants? Upon Allah. So upon Allah is missing, right? That's the. Let me see. That's the third. The third one here, right? Atadri ma haqqul ibadi ala Allah, right? The servant's right upon Allah, right? Upon Allah is missing. Servant's right, right? Upon Allah. Right? Even though the general meaning, nothing changed, right? If it was like regular translation, that would be okay, but for the sake of the Arabic, we want everything to be as literal as possible. Now, before we continue, some of the brothers had asked some questions yesterday. And ask it, even as easy as the question might seem, right, or insignificant, ask it. Because from your angle, it might seem insignificant, right? Two persons ask me some questions. It's normally this affects new students, and is so when you ask maybe certain tips, it might slip me to mention, or certain guidelines, but it's gonna benefit everyone, inshallah ta'ala. One thing to note, when you are speaking, you're the one going to choose what you want to say, right? The grammar is going to teach you how to say it, how to say what you want to say. When you're going to say it, that depends on you. Now, this might sound like some common sense thing, but if you don't think about it, when you're studying a language, you get confused. I'll give you an example. This is my book. This book belongs to me. The general meaning is what? The same, right? Now, the grammar for this book belongs to me, the structure of that sentence is different than this is my book, right? Now, you from an English perspective point of view, you're not thinking about anything technical. Now, when you study in the language, different language, you might be thinking, oh, when should I say this is my book? When should I say this book belongs to me? That depends on you. Now, when you study the grammar, it's to study when you want to say this is my book, how to say that properly. And when you want to say this book belongs to me, how you say that properly. Now, when you say this and when you say that, that'll be up to you, right? Now, there is a different field of studies called eloquence, right? Balagha. That they're going to give you tips and train you when it's going to be more eloquent to use this and more eloquent to use that. Right? That there we don't need any of those, and don't think about that when you speak in a new language. Just use any expression and you just speak and get that flowing. Right? That's a whole different language. Right? And a whole different level. And the regular general mass of people don't think about balagha, eloquence, when they're speaking. I'll give you another example. Muhammad is a teacher. The teacher is Muhammad. Right? Muhammad is a teacher. The teacher is Muhammad. The general information is what? Same thing. Muhammad is a teacher. The teacher is Muhammad. Now, when you're going to say Muhammad is a teacher and when you're going to say the teacher is Muhammad, right? Now, firstly, you're going to know which one you want to use. But generally, when you're going to say this one or when you're going to say that one, that's eloquence. If the focus is Muhammad, you're going to mention Muhammad first. If the focus is the teacher, you're going to mention the teacher first, right? If you want to know who is the teacher, you're going to mention the teacher first, right? And we mentioned this benefit in the last batch, right? This balagha, you can solve the problem with curry chicken or chicken curry, right? Who remember? All right, we're going to leave that for the end of the class if we have time. After the class finish, after 4 to 6:30, right? So that's balagha, right? We're not thinking about balagha, and don't think about balagha, especially with the Arabic. So that's one point. So that's going to ease a lot of confusion. The second thing, how you know which ruling you need to apply. The first thing before you can even think about ruling and which ruling to apply, you have to know the meaning of the sentence or what the sentence should mean. Right? Then you're going to know what ruling to apply. So the comprehension, the general comprehension comes before the grammar. Because you can speak and be grammatically incorrect, but the listener or the reader are going to know what you were trying to say. So what is more important than the grammar is the actual words, right? For example, if I was to say, I is a teacher. I is a teacher, right? Anybody who read or listen to me, they're going to understand exactly what I want to say. Now, there's a subject and predicate composition, right? Subject and the information about the subject. The subject is I, and the information about the subject. Now, how I structured it, I have some grammatical issue with this sentence, right? I'll give a next example. In Arabic. If I was to, let me use an English example first. Here I will say, English. Muhammad bread eat. Muhammad bread eat. Right? I now learning to speak English, and I tell you Muhammad bread eat. Will you understand? I trying to say, Muhammad, he eat the bread. Right? So now, you understand exactly what I'm saying, even though the whole grammar, everything mixed up. The main thing was what? The vocabs. The main thing is the vocabs. Now you know you want to say, Muhammad ate the bread. So based on that statement, you know what you have to put first, second, and third in English. Now in Arabic. Now focus, right? Because we jump forward a little bit. Just to get this concept. Because this here, many students, if not the most students I came across, right? They make this mistake in the beginning of their studies. Either they're trying to understand when you should say this and when you should say that, when it's up to them, right? Or they're trying to apply the grammar before they know the meaning. And that's caused more confusion than anything else. I give you another sentence. Right? Now, we have a verb, akala. We use akala, means ate. Right? We have Muhammad, is Muhammad. And we have, give me something easy. At-ta'am, right? We did ta'am, food. Right? Akala means ate. Ta'am means food. Muhammad is Muhammad. Now, if I say Muhammad akala at-ta'am, akala Muhammad at-ta'am, at-ta'am Muhammad akala. Right? No matter how I put it, you're going to get the meaning. Right? You're going to get the meaning. Remember the default when we're speaking and listening and books, and so there's no vocab, there is no vowel, sorry. There's the default. Right? How are you going to understand what you're reading? The number one thing is vocabs, not grammar. The Quran is different. Why? The vowels is there already. The Quran is preserved. We don't know the voweling, we don't know everything. Right? So that's different. Because now the grammar plays a major part in understanding the Quranic text apart from the general vocabulary. Right? Now there might be a situation where it can be ambiguous. We can give an example with regards to that. Now in Arabic, the person who is eating, you got to put a dhamma. And the thing that is being eaten, you got to put a fatha. Right? To be more specific, the person who is eating or the thing that is eating, doing the action of eating, you put it in marfu state. Marfu state represented by a dhamma, right? We explain briefly states, and we're going to keep explaining it every now and again. And the thing that is being eaten, right? The object, right? You put a fatha or mansub state to be more specific. Now, so this sentence, grammatically, it's supposed to be Muhammadun akala at-ta'ama. Right? Akala is a verb. The verb fixed, right? There's nothing to change with that verb, right? The verb is going to be fixed. Muhammadun akala at-ta'ama. That's how the sentence is supposed to be. Now, if someone was to mix it up and say Muhammadan akala at-ta'amu, you're still going to know what they're trying to say. Right? You're still going to know what they're trying to say, even though they mix up all the vowels. Now, let's say you didn't know the meaning of any of these words, but you know the grammar. Let me give you an example. Let me say, al-labu'a, right? Let me say, akala, as-sinjab, al-labu'a. And I was to say, akala, as-sinjabu, al-labu'ata. Akala, as-sinjabu, al-labu'ata. Right? Now you don't know any of these words what they mean. Imagine that, even if you did know. Right? And you only know grammar. You know that the doer got to have dhamma, the object has fatha. So who is eating who? You're gonna think, no, I didn't put anything on the whiteboard. I'm just speaking. You guys want me to use the whiteboard? Make it more clear? All right, we're gonna use it just now. This cause this is more like a intro. We're gonna when we go through the text, inshallah. You following though somehow, right? So we have akala. What we said? As-sinjab bu al-labu'ata. Now, the doer has to have dhamma. We know that in grammar. So, if someone else asks you, who is eating who? You're going to think that the sinjab is eating the labu'a. Right? Because that's what your grammar, the understanding from a grammatical point of view is supposed to be. Now, what is the meaning of sinjab? Ahmad, what is sinjab? I don't want you in the back. You and Nawaf, you guys got to be at the side here. All the regulars got to be right in front. And who? Cheyenne. What is sinjab? Anybody know what sinjab? I'm going to give a presentation, inshallah. Let this battery, I'm hooked up at the moment with, let this battery charge up a little. What's labu'a? Sinjab is squirrel, and labu'a is a lioness. A lioness. A lioness. Female lion. Right? Right? The sinjab is a squirrel, and labu'a is a lioness. Who's supposed to be eating whom? The lion's supposed to be eating the sinjab. Right? So you think that the sinjab doing the eating, you don't know what's sinjab. You think the labu are being eaten, but you don't know what is it. But if you knew the meaning of the words, you're going to know the person is making a grammatical mistake. And then you're going to know whether the book has a typo in it or not. Now there might be things where the actual sentence is ambiguous. Right? Like if I put the tiger eat the lion. Right? I mixed up. How are you going to know? Right? Okay, anyone of them can be eating anyone abnormally, right? Even though they don't normally eat anyone. But it's possible, logically possible, one of them is eating the next. Right? So that you got to look at context and so on. The default for the Arabic is if there is possibility of confusion, you maintain a certain standard. So the doer normally comes first, then the object. If there is possibility for confusion, that is the Arabic language. You maintain the default structure of the sentence, which is putting the doer first, then the object. Because we know in Arabic you can mix the doer and the object. So that was the point of that. Was for what? Just to get those things in your consciousness whilst you're studying the language, and it's going to aid in preventing confusion. And inshallah, I'm gonna give back another example at the end. Okay. So let's review the text quickly. Al-mu'minul qawi, right? The strong believer. And remember, we mentioned in Arabic the adjective after the noun. So in English, we say the strong believer. In Arabic, we say the believer strong. Right? In English, we say the strong believer. In Arabic, you say the believer strong. That's the way of the language. Right? Wal jalis as-salih. And the righteous companion. Right? Here we have a typo. It's supposed to be wal jalisu. Right? Not al jalisa. Jalisi. Qala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. The messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, right? Al-mu'minul qawiyyu, the strong believer, khayrun is better, wa ahabbu, and more beloved, ilallahi, to Allah, min al-mu'min al-da'if, than the weak believer, right? This min here is used how we use than in English. And remember we said just use the language as it is. Don't try to comprehend why they use this and we use this. Because you are confused because of what you're accustomed to. Right? But just know that this is the expression in Arabic. وَفِي كُلٍّ خَيْرٍ. And in all, who is the all here? Meaning both the weak believer and the strong believer, خَيْر. There is good. وَفِي كُلٍّ خَيْرٍ. And in all, good. Right? And in all, good. That's the literal meaning. Now the English, you're going to say, in all there is good. Remember that's one phrase that we say is not there in English also. That there is and there are in like this. It's not there in Arabic, sorry. وَفِي كُلٍّ خَيْرٍ. وَقَالَ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. And the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, أيضا. أيضا means also. Right? إِنَّمَا. And we said innama is a form of emphasis. You're saying this thing is nothing but this thing, right? We're going to go through that some more. Innama mathalul jalis salih. Right? Mathal, parable, similitude. The parable of al-jalis as-salih, the righteous companion. Wal jalis is-sawi, and the bad companion, the evil companion. Their parable, ka is like. Ka is like. Hamilil miski, the carrier of the musk. وَنَافِخِ الْكِيرِ, and the blower of the bellow. Right? And the blower of the bellow. Right? The hamil al-misk, the carrier of the musk, referring to the one who sell musk. Right? وَنَافِخِ الْكِيرِ, and the blower of the bellow, referring to the blacksmith. And we said that here, and we're gonna demonstrate that inshallah, but just let this thing charge up a little so I can move around. We're gonna demonstrate. Remember, we said here we have the word serving two purpose, right? In the mudaf ilay construction, that of construction, right? Sometimes a word can be the mudaf for one and the mudaf ilay for the next. We're gonna come back to that inshallah. Now hamil, carrier, right? Hamil. Hamil also means a pregnant woman, right? The same word is used for a pregnant woman because she's carrying a baby, right? Hamil, when you say a woman is hamil, she is pregnant. Now, if you say a rajul hamil, it's going to mean the man is a carrier. It's never going to mean the man is pregnant. When you say al-mar'atu hamil, the woman is hamil. Without the ta, you're going to mean the woman is pregnant. Why they don't put the ta in Arabic? Because it's not possible for a man to be pregnant. Now, descriptive word in Arabic, when it's only possible for one gender, right, it doesn't necessarily show the sign. That is more applicable to the female because the word by default is a masculine word. So if that word is only possible for a female, they don't necessarily put the ta on it, right? Remember, so if you want to say al-mar'atu al-hamil, it's correct. Al-mar'atu al-hamil, right? The pregnant woman. Or al-mar'atu hamil, the woman is pregnant. Right? Wa ulatul ahmali in Surah At-Talaq. Wa ulatul ahmal, right? Those who have hamil, those who have carrying baby, all from the same root. Hamalathu ummuhu wahnan, wahnan ala wahn. Hamalathu, right? There's a verb to be pregnant, right? His mother carried him, meaning was pregnant with him. Hamalathu ummuhu wahnan ala wahn. Weakness upon, in a state of weakness upon weakness. Right? Hamil. And there's one of the easiest way to retain vocabs is to try to link it to all the words you already know in your head. And misk is nafikh, right? Is the blower from nafakha. Nafakha means he blew, right? Yanfukhu, we know the angel yanfukhu fi sur. Sur, the trumpet in the Quran, right? Yanfukhu, the angel, he blows in the trumpet. Wa nufikha fi sur, it will be blown into the trumpet. Nafkh, right? Nufikha, wa nufikha fihi, ukhra, and it will be blown in it another time, right? Nafikh, nufikh, right? That is the word for blowing. And kir, he said, is the bellow. That is the thing that you pump the air into the fire with. These are the vocabs, all of these, right? Ahab, most beloved, more beloved. Jalis, friend. Saw, evil, right? Saw is like Su. Saw and Su, evil. But the wording of the hadith is Saw, right? It's not a mistake. Right? The wording of the hadith is Saw. Dhalika, that. We did Hadha is this, Hadihi this. Dhalika is that, is for masculine word. Hamil, carrier, nafikh, blower, kir, bellow, tayyib, good. Tayyib, another word for is tayyib, you can keep it as tayyib is good, right? Tayyib, good. Masroor, happy. These are some extra vocabs. Ghani, right? We did Ghani before. Allahu al-Ghani, he is the rich. Ghani, rich. Himar, donkey. Kalimatun, word. Tajirun, merchant. Kalbun, dog. Huh? Oh, this is the spelling is wrong. Da'if is weak. Weak as in W-E-A-K. W-E-A-K. right? Innama. We mentioned briefly innama. Innama is used in Arabic as a form of emphasis. When added to a sentence, it provides an exclusive meaning, such as saying something is nothing but or only. Right? Innama, it emphasizes and provides an exclusive meaning. So, for example, you have innamal mu'minuna ikhwatun. Right? Al-mu'minun, the believers. Right? This is in Surah Al-Hujurat. Innamal mu'minuna ikhwa, brothers. Indeed, the believers are nothing but brothers. The believers are indeed nothing but brothers. Right? Now, this indeed nothing but, where all these words come from? Innama. Right? Now, when you're studying this word in Arabic, they're just going to tell you the same thing in Arabic. Right? So you're not losing any meaning. Right? You're going to say that it's what do you call it? It's a word of tawqid and hasr. Right? Emphasis and exclusiveness, confinement. Because where you're confining this quality upon this subject, the believers are nothing, indeed nothing but brothers. Like in the Quran, you have many examples, right? Innama anta mudhakkir, right? You are nothing but a reminder. You are indeed nothing but a reminder. Innama anta mudhakkir. Right? In Surah Al what? Huh? Innamal ilmu indallah. Right? The knowledge is indeed only with Allah. If you say indeed the knowledge is only with Allah, it doesn't matter. I just put it together to make it easy to understand the wording. Right? Innama. So this indeed only. Indeed nothing but right? Even if you use other translation, once you're reflecting that general meaning. Right? Al-ilm, knowledge. Inda is with Allah. Innama anta munzir. You are indeed nothing but a warner, right? Munzir is warner, right? Mudhakkir, reminder. Innama ad'u rabbi. Ad'u is I am calling. It is affectly board. That's why you shut down. Innama ad'u rabbi. Ad'u means I am calling, right? I'm making dua. Calling, ad'u here means dua. Rabbi, my Lord. Innama ad'u Rabbi. I am indeed calling none but my Lord, right? Indeed, I'm only calling my Lord. Meaning, indeed, I'm only making dua to my Lord. Indeed, I'm only praying to my Lord, right? Ad'u and means you're making dua. And dua is supplication and ibadah. Right? That is the general meaning for dua. It can refer to supplicating and it can refer to ibadah in general. Right? Dua can refer to ibadah in general. So the concept of innama is clear. Right? Any question so far? Right? Innama anta mudhakkir in Surah Al-Ghashiyah.
Is mudhakkir one of these words of kitab? Like you could say huwa kitab, hiya kitab?
No. It can, no. Mudhakkir, remind, is a descriptive word.
Oh, so it could be male and female?
Okay. Adjective and nouns. It's not a concept. All of these we hint to them as we explain the passages. An adjective is a word used to describe a noun, such as big in a big dog, right? Now, this is the general English definition. And it's strange. Everybody knows an adjective here. You know what's an adjective? Huh? That's why I put the definition for these words. Because I know we get a lot of non-native English speakers in the class. What is adjective? You know what's the adjective? Uh-huh. What is the adjective? A word that describes a noun. Right? In Arabic, adjectives follow the noun and must agree with the noun in 4 situations, or in four things. The adjective, right? It comes after the noun. Maybe that might be clearer to say than to say. To follow might sound look. The adjective comes after the noun, right? Comes after the noun. Now, which one is backward, English or Arabic? English. The reason I asked, I remember the first teacher who taught me this was an English speaker when we did Arabic in Guyana. And he made a comment, Arabic is backward. Because backward to his perception, he's programmed with. You know, like people say Arabic backward, you're reading from the other side of the book. Right? You're judging it based on something you program it. It's not a just judgment. But if you think about it, the eloquence of putting the adjective after the noun is better. Right? You mention what you're going to talk about, then you describe it. Don't start give us the description and nobody know as yet what you're talking about. Right? The big, fat, red, blue. Right? What you're talking about. Before you can even think the phone disconnect, nobody know what you're talking about as yet. You understand? So it's more eloquent to put the noun before the adjective. So the adjective in Arabic follow the noun, comes after the noun and must agree with the noun in gender. Meaning the adjective, if the noun is masculine, the adjective has to be masculine. If the noun is feminine, the adjective has to be feminine. Quantity. Now, what's meant by quantity is if the noun is singular, like a man, the man, both is singular, the adjective has to be singular. If the noun is dual, now in Arabic, there is 3 numbering, 3 quantity for nouns and words, right? English is generally 2 quantity, right? Singular and plural. In Arabic, you have singular, dual, and plural. And dual is 2. So, rajul, for example, is man. And then you have rajulan or rajulain is 2 men. So, if the noun is dual, the adjective has to be dual. And then you have the plural, which is more than 2, right? 3 and more, the adjective has to be in the plural form. This is general. Definiteness, meaning such as having al. Definiteness, such as having al. This is one example of a word. The most famous way a word is be definite. So, for example, if you say Ja'a rajulun, a man came. The word there is indefinite, right? There is no al. Ja'a ar-rajulu, right? Ja'a ar-rajulu with alif and lam. The word there is definite. Right? We have some examples we're going to come across. And the last is the end vowels, or the vowel state, right? The end vowels or the vowel state. More specifically, if you say vowel state, it's going to be more accurate, or the state of the word has to be the same. Remember we mentioned that in Arabic, depending on the purpose that word is serving in the sentence, the grammatical purpose of the word has to be in a specific state. If it's the doer, it has to be in a specific state. If it's the object, meaning the thing that is being eaten, for example, it has to be in a specific state. That is known as the state of the verb, the word, the vowel state, the vowel ending state, You call it in Arabic, you call it the i'rab of the word, right? The i'rab of the word. Right now we just want you to understand the concept, not too much the terminology. We're not focusing on that at the moment. So some example, you have al-mu'minul qawiyyu, right? The strong believer. Al-mu'minu al-qawiyyu, the strong believer. And this is referring to a male, right? The strong believer, male. Now the hadith is general. Anytime you speak in anything general, male and female, you use the male, the masculine gender. Al-kalimatu tayyibatu. Right? Now note here, al, you say the strong believer. So the believer has al, the adjective has to take al. The believer has dhamma, the adjective has to take dhamma. Believer singular, the adjective is singular. Al-kalimatu at-tayyibatu, the good word, right? Noun and adjective again. So here al, we have al. Now this word is feminine, sorry. How we know it's feminine? Because of this wrong ta, the ta marbuta. So the adjective has to have a ta marbuta. Has a dhamma, You can't say al-kalimatu tayyibati, right? It's going to be grammatically incorrect, right? It's going to be grammatically incorrect. A strong believer, mu'minun qawiyun. Mu'minun qawiyun, a strong believer, right? No alif and lam, no alif and lam. Tanween dhamma, right? Both masculine. Kultu kalimatan tayyibatan. Kultu means I said. Kalimatan, a good word. Now I said a good word. Now here, a good word. The word has tanween fatha. So the adjective has to take tanween fatha. No alif and lam, singular. Right? The concept's clear? Kalimatan fathatain. We mentioned, we indicate, we're going to go through it in more detail later, that the object of a word generally it's in the fatha state, right? So for example, I, Muhammad, ate the bread. The bread there has to be in the fatha state, or more accurately, what you call mansub state or nasb, right? And that is normally represented with the fatha, right? It's normally represented with the fatha. So because this kalima, good word, is what I'm saying, right? That is the object of my statement. Note, if both words agree in gender, quantity, and vowel state, but not in definiteness, then it's most likely a subject and predicate structure, right? Now, remember we mentioned before, the meaning is the number one thing, right? What you want to say and what is supposed to be said. Now, let's say the meaning is accurate and the grammar is accurate, but when you look at the word, everything is not matching up, then it's going to mean that this is not an adjective. It's something else, right? It's going to mean it's something else. Now, when you're going to use this, when are you going to use that? That's up to you again, right? Up to the author, up to the speaker. Such as we have al-kalimatu tayyibatun. Now, note here, right? Al-kalimatu, alif and lam, no alif and lam here, but everything else matched. Ta is feminine. Dhamma, this has tanween dhamma. They're both in the same state, not the exact This one has dhamma, this one has tanween dhamma, but it's generally both in the same state, right? So here, because it's not matching up, it's not going to be a noun and adjective. It's going to be something else. Here, the word is good, right? Al-mu'minu qawiyun. The believer is strong, right? And we did many of these before, right? So here, if we take out the alif and lam and we say al-mu'minu qawiyun, it's going to be the believer is strong, different than the strong believer, right? The word is good. Al-kalimatu tayyibatun, right? And we had a good amount of example here. Now, we're gonna compare those later, so we don't confuse. So now we do 3 different structure, right? That we study sentence. One, you have the mudaf wal mudaf ilay, which is like with the of, right? This is some the key of the teacher, and so you have the noun and the adjective, and you have the subject and predicate, right? Meaning, like the word is good. That is what you call subject and predicate, right? You're talking about the word and you're saying something about this word, right? But you're not using a adjective construction. Now let me go through these examples, inshallah. Al-mu'minu. Now, when read, contemplate, comprehend, these tables that come at the end of the class, at the end of each lesson, it's general. It's not necessarily reflecting the lesson that just preceded, right? It's general review. Al-mu'minu akhul mu'min. Al-mu'min, the believer, is akhul mu'min, the brother of the believer, right? There's from the hadith, from a statement from a hadith. Now here, akhul mu'min, you have the of construction, the mudaf wal mudaf ilay, something of something, right? The believer is the brother of the believer. No, the second word has kasra state, right? We call kasra state in English, in Arabic, majroor. It is majroor. First word, no alif and lam. Now, why we're not seeing the vowel on this waw, we're going to deal with that another time. Muhammadun qawiyyun. Muhammad is strong. Muhammadun qawiyyun. Muhammad is strong. One second. Al-himaru da'ifun. The donkey is weak. Al-himaru da'ifun. The donkey is weak. Now, if we were to say the weak donkey, what we got to do? We got to match up everything now. So we got to say al-himaru ad-da'ifu. We have to add an alif and lam. Al-himaru ad-da'ifu, right? Like this here. Al-himaru ad-da'ifu, right? The weak donkey, khalf al-bayt, is behind the house. Khalf, behind, al-bayt is house. Al-himaru ad-da'ifu khalf al-bayt. The weak donkey is behind the house. At-tajiru ghaniyun. The merchant is rich. The merchant is rich. Now, this is subject. You're informing about the subject, right? What you call subject and predicate. In Arabic, you call it mubtada and khabar. Now, you want to say the rich merchant. Now, everything got to match up, right? At-tajiru al-ghaniyu, right? At-tajiru al-ghaniyu fi suq. The rich merchant is in the market. Alif and lam, dhamma, dhamma, masculine, masculine, singular, singular, right? Everything got to match up. Now, all of these, memorize them as they are, right? And that's because if you want to develop the speaking, you're not going to have time to think. If you got to think how much thing I got to match up, is it masculine, feminine, all of those things, by the time you're ready to articulate the word, whoever you're speaking with, they disappear already from you, right? So memorize all of these. They're going to be templates for you in your brain, and your brain going to work on it, right? And as technical as it's sung, when you get into the language and you get accustomed to the language, it's going to be natural. It's going to be natural with you. You don't have to think too much. Now we have some words here read and translate the following. There's going to be homework. All of these, right? Words, read and translate. That's homework. Easy homework for today. And memorize everything that precede, right? Now, before we end, let me before we end, two things. One, for this 1 month course, and definitely you can't complete Arabic, master Arabic in 1 month, right? But anytime you join a program, whether it's this program or any program, especially if it's short term, right? Put everything you need to put into it to come out with what the program is giving you. And it's going to vary from one person to the next, right? A person with little background going to need less time than a person with no background and a person who had a lot of background, right? But if you use that as your gauge and put everything you need to put into it so that you come out with whatever the program is giving you, you can develop and move on later on, right? Then after that, you work on something else and move on. But if you don't put everything that is needed into it to come out with it, you're going to left stuck at one level, right? Or almost left stuck, right? Enough people can give you that experience, right? I know people, they study, they somehow they graduate, they pass through the system, right? Okay, you can pass through any system easy, right? Depends, especially if they're giving you multiple choice and so on, and it's something you can play around and guess around. But when it comes to the language itself, they didn't develop much. Why? Because they were too lazy to use a dictionary, right? If the teacher don't tell them the meaning of the word, they're not going to check the meaning of the word, right? So now, like let's say they study 40 hadith in year 1, right? Instead of making all the effort they need to know all the words in 40 hadith and all the vocabs in 40 hadith, right? They leave it back. They just memorize everything without understanding. Now they move on, and they never understand 40 hadith properly, right? But if in that first, when they were studying 40 hadith, they made all the effort to know all the words mean, go and check the dictionary, go and review with someone. Then the next book that they're going to study, all of those words they already knew. So now they can add to it. So now they come across the same word 100 times and they never know what it means. Right? So make sure when you're moving through with a program, try to put everything in it to come out. There is 3 guidelines, inshallah. If you work with it, after a period of time, you're going to find a lot of improvement. One is constantly build your vocabulary and read a lot, right? This is not really, it's a composition book, but let me say, for example, the Arabiya by Naidak that we did. If that it's totally strange, you can use it as a composition book for now, right? There are other compositions book like the Qasasun Nabiyyin that we are doing throughout the year. You have a book composition book that you're reading constantly, and you build vocabs. Now take 1 to 3 words every day and let that be the words that you're memorizing. All the other vocabs you come across, you cram it as much as you can, but make sure that you memorize properly 3 words that you want to stick in your head. All right? And we mentioned in the beginning, you might repeat that word 10 times in the morning, you forget it after half an hour, 2 hours. That's normal. What you got to do? Rememorize it throughout the day. Take 1 to 3 words. Right? At the end of, if you take 1 word, at the end of the month, it's 30 words. 300 words plus at the end of the year. And remember, if you're reading at the side and studying a next book at the side, you're going to automatically recall some of those vocabs. So at the end of the year, you have like 400 words. right? And show her how many people memorized 400 new words last year, right? But easy, we could build the vocabs. And remember, that's the main thing in understanding the language. But over time, with a little, it's going to build, right? And take that, you have like a little pocketbook or something, fill it up with words. Put 1 to 3 words alone on each page. So you don't have to every day look for words. You already have it, and every day you memorize some words that is going to stick with you. A good book, the Arabiya Bayn Yadayk is a good book if you put all the conversation together. And the Qasasun Nabiyyin, those books are going to help you to relate with Quran in a certain way. The Arabiya Bayn Yadayk, not so much. There's a lot of common everyday thing, right? Like going to the passport office and buying utensils for the house and so, which you're not going to really relate to the Quran in most cases. But the Qasasun Nabiyyin is better with regards to relating with the Quran and the Sunnah, and even use a basic hadith book or something. And the third, which is very important, is every day listen attentively to at least half an hour of Arabic, right? A lecture, right? A video, something of clear Fusha Arabic, listen to it. Even if you're not understanding anything in it, just keep listening, right? And it's your brain's going to get accustomed to the expression. For example, for example, is the sentence, Al-mu'minu al-qawi khayrun wa ahabbu ila Allah min al-mu'min al-da'if. If your ear is not accustomed to the language, you will not be able to point out which are the words, right? Al-mu'minu al-qawi khayrun, for example, Al-mu'minu al-qawi khayrun. When your ears get accustomed to the language, you're going to know Al-mu'min is one word, Al-qawi is another word, khayrun is one word. You say that to a stranger, Al-mu'min al-qawi khayrun, and tell him, point out the words for me. He might think Al-mu'min al-qawi is a word, and khayrun another word. Or he might hear the entire phrase to be one word, right? Now, if you want to use the dictionary, how are you going to know to find the word if you can't figure out the words? So that is important to listen to the language a lot, even if you're not understanding anything. And all of these techniques, I use it, right? I use it, and it was very, efficient in working, right? And I challenged others with it when I was there, right? And they regretted it, right? They didn't use the technique, and they sail a little more behind. So the listening, especially the listening, a lot of the students, they fall short in the listening part. So when the lecturer is speaking fast, they lost because their ear is not accustomed to it. Right? You gotta like dictate to them before they can understand. But if you've been listening and listening and listening, it's gonna process. We get 1 minute. All right, we can take a few minutes, inshallah. So let me just give this example. write it big, hopefully it's clear on the okay, look a little better there. All right. Miftah, what is miftah? Key, right? It's just a little demonstration in applying what we mentioned. What is jadid? New. Right? Jadid is new. What's Ammar? What's the meaning of Ammar? Right? It's the name of a person, right? Name. Name of a person. Now I want everybody write down the voweling for these, vowel the sentence, especially the last vowels for all the sentence. Right? Write it down, 1 minute. Right? Don't think too much. Think a little bit. And write down the voweling for all the sentence. Right? Make sure you bring a book, right? And you'll try print it out. Huh?
I think I can print. Just send me the. Where can I find the pages?
You can go to Kifu, what's the place name again? Staples and.
No, I have a printer.
Okay. Remind me to huh?
Yasmin, where you can get the PDF.
Remind me to send it to you. Remind me. Right? Don't strain your brains too much. Right? Just write it, and whoever comes first, what you think. And remember, you gotta give yourself time for everything to sink, especially the nature of the course, crash course. Right? But if it's brand new to you, after a time, just keep reviewing, and so it's gonna come. There are certain concepts, I never understand it till I start to teach. Right? But if you wait, like I said, that is with the grammar. The general meaning, you're going to get it, right? The general meaning, you're going to get it. If a child can get it, just growing up, they understand what you're saying. They repeat the same thing when they want to say the same thing, right? But understanding the grammar, don't make that be the reason to slow you down, right? Keep moving, keep reviewing, and so on. Okay, so everybody write it down there, right? Now, so we have key here. We have this key, car, and teacher. This, we have key, we have car, and we have teacher. Now, what's the meaning of the sentence supposed to be? This is the key of the car of the teacher, right? Or this is the teacher's car's key, correct? This is the teacher's car's key. Huh? Correct? Don't worry my English grammar. If my English grammar wrong, let me know. But the meaning, right? The key of the car of the teacher, the teacher's car key. That is what it's supposed to be, right? Now we know that's the meaning it's supposed to be. So this, which structure we supposed to be using? The structure of al-mudaf wal-mudaf ilay, right? That of apostrophe x structure, right? You call that structure al-mudaf wal-mudaf ilay, right? When you say the house of the teacher, the speech of Allah, the book of the student, right? That structure is al-mudaf wal-mudaf ilay. So هذا, so we know the first word of the structure can have alif and lam, and it has to have a single vowel. So هذا مفتاح. The second word of the mudaf wal mudaf ilay has to have kasra state, majrur, right? Has to be kasra state. Now we get a problem because it's the car of the teacher. So it's serving two purposes. So the first word for this can have tanween, no alif and lam. So it loses its tanween and alif and lam because of what? Because it's also serving the same, is serving what this was serving to this word here. Understand? And then you have the teacher going to take kasra. Now the first word you call it the mudaf, and the second word you call it the al-mudaf ilay. Now most people, when they all use terminology, be confusing in the first, right? That is from experience and with most people. That is not the main thing to remember that. The main thing is understanding the concept, right? So if we were to stop here, and we want to say the key of a car, we can say miftahu sayyaratin, right? Miftahu sayyaratin. Now, if we take out this word here, and we want to say the car of the teacher, we can say sayyaratul mudarrisi. Clear? Right? The car of the teacher, sayyaratu al-mudarrisi. Now, we get the key of the car of the teacher. Miftahu sayyaratil mudarrisi. Right? So this one, it takes kasra because it's the mudaf ilay for this one. This one takes a single vowel, no alif and lam, right? Because it is the mudaf towards this, no alif and lam, no tanween, because it's the mudaf ilay to this. Sorry, no alif and lam and no tanween. Now here, we have this, we have ki, and we have new. Right? And none of them has alif and lam. None of them has alif and lam. Right? So, here definitely is going to be in what? This is, if up to here, is going to mean what? This is a key. Right? There is no alif and lam. And this word is new. So what is the general meaning this sentence supposed to mean? This is a new key, right? How you know what the sentence is supposed to mean? That is where you can, that going to come from, what the word I'm looking for? Logics, common sense, general understanding, right? Things like that. Now why it can be, this is a key, or this is a key is new. Can it make sense in the first place? You understand? You look lost. You're going to understand with the second one. Right? So this here is supposed to be, this is a new key. So here we have which construction? Noun and adjective. Right? Noun and adjective. هذا مفتاح. And here has to have جديد. هذا مفتاح جديد. masculine, masculine, singular, singular, no alif and lam, no alif and lam. Now, before we go to the last one, if I was to change this to, and put an alif and lam here, now it becomes, instead of this is a key, it becomes this key. Right? It became this key. So here now, seeing the words like this, it's not matching up anymore. So it can be this new key, right? Because it's not matching up. It's going to mean this key is new. Clear? This key is new. هذا المفتاح جديد. This key is new. Now later on, now some of you in the beginning might say, okay, this by itself means the key. And this by itself means this, or this is. So why is not this is the key new? Right? Easy. We're going to explain that. It's in one of the lessons. In English, there is not, what do you call it, a proper structured sentence, right? This is the key new. So that's why you say this key is new. But we're going to explain that in more detail later. Now here, if you look at this word, this sentence here now. So we have this key and Ammar. What is the sentence supposed to mean? Right? This is Ammar's key. This is Ammar's key, or the key of Ammar. Now how we know that this here is the mudaf al-mudaf construction and is not a adjective, not an adjective construction like when we had this one. Right? Because we have a single word here, masculine word, no alif and lam, no alif and lam. We have a masculine word here, no alif and lam, masculine word here, no alif and lam. But how we know the construction that we got to use? Because of the meaning. Say somebody didn't know the meaning and think Ammar is an adjective. What are you going to say? هَذَا مِفْتَاحٌ أَمَّارٌ. But because you know the meaning, what the meaning is supposed to be, that is what help you to now put the right voweling. So you got to be هَذَا مِفْتَاحُ أَمَّارٍ. So you know why you tashkil this like this, why you put these vowels, right? هَذَا مِفْتَاحٌ جَدِيدٌ, and why you say هَذَا مِفْتَاحُ أَمَّارٍ, and you didn't say هَذَا مِفْتَاحٌ أَمَّارٌ. So you know when to use this, when to use this, when to use this, and when you use this, all based on what? The meaning. All based on the meaning. And as I mentioned, we're going to deal with this here. Why is this key and this, and is not this is the key in this sentence, and when it's going to be this is the key in another class, inshallah ta'ala. So let all of those digest. Review when you go home, review, inshallah ta'ala. If all who okay, well, you that was an exam for yourself, right? So if you didn't get all right, you know where you went wrong. The next time you're gonna gotta send in the question, the answer to me. For the purpose of evaluation, right? We ain't get no punishment, detention, or anything. So we finish, inshallah. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. If anyone wants to leave, they can leave. Any questions? We're gonna take the questions, inshallah. You gotta talk loud. For some reason, I'm not hearing you. You know why? Huh? Which is going to be based on how it's based on the sentence. The first word of the mudaf ilay, you choose the vowels based on its purpose in the sentence. So, for example, we have what we have there. Let's say we have the key of the car, right? Let me shorten it. The key of the car, or the key of the or the car of the teacher. Let me look at the car. You have the car of the teacher. Right? Now if you take out the first part of the sentence, it's going to be Sayyaratul Mudarrisi. Right? The default is Dhamma. Right? The default is Dhamma. Until there is something to take it out of that default. You can use that as a what do you call it? You can use it as a aid or a gauge or so. But technically there is no default, because in the Arabic grammar, each word is always serving a purpose in the sentence, and is always there's something that is affecting the word, right? But if you use that default tip is going to help throughout the language. But technically there is no default. But let me say the default is Dhamma, right? Until we reach advanced Arabic. So هذا مفتاح هذا سيارة. Well, if we take out the miftah, it's going to be هذه سيارة المدرس. هذه سيارة المدرس. Right? There is nothing to change it to kasra. Now, because sayara now in this here is the mudaf ilay for miftah, it changed to kasra. If we were to put a fi before, in the car of the teacher, we can say fi sayaratil mudarrisi. Right? Fi sayaratil mudarrisi. Remember I said if you treat the default as the dhamma, even though technically in Arabic grammar there is no default, right? It's going to be dhamma if this is the case, it's going to be kasra if this is the case, it's going to be fatha if this is the case. So we're going to study some of it later on, inshallah. So if you put a fi, now if I say I saw, remember we mentioned before, anything after a preposition it becomes majrur state. So you're going to change it to majrur. Fi sayyaratil mudarris. Now if I say I saw the car of the teacher, now the car becomes an object, the object for what I saw. So I can say ra'aytu sayyaratal mudarrisi. So the first word is always affected by whatever purpose is serving in the sentence. The second word can be affected because it's always going to be affected by the first word in that construction, right? So even if you say, I saw the car of the teacher, what you're saying is the car. The teacher, the purpose of the teacher there remains the same, right? In the car of the teacher, what in affect the car. The teacher there, the purpose remains the same. It's nothing going to change with the teacher. Is always going to be, what do you call it? Majrur state. We're going to go in detail with it, inshallah. The literal meaning, majrur means something, literally means something that is being dragged, like. Marfu means something that is elevated, and mansub means something that is what do you call it? Something that is elevated, but there is a part on the ground, like stand up. So, for example, this phone, if you like the pole is mansub. But it's not marfu, right? Elevating will be like the roof, right? It's elevated. Like erected is mansub. So if you get a pole and you lift the pole up in the air, the entire pole is in the air, it's marfu. And you stick the pole into the ground and stand it up, it's mansub. And you drop the pole on the ground and you pull it, it's majrur. Right? That's the literal meaning. How you know it's singular, plural, or dual? Yeah, the meaning of the word, and there is some guidelines. We're gonna come across some of them, inshallah. Yeah, but for now, the easiest thing, if you notice with the vocabs, I didn't really put in singular and dual and so. So just memorize the word them as you come across. So for example, tajir is merchant. the plural for it is tujar. So when you, if let me say we had come across tujar first, so you memorize tujar, merchants. So you just memorize, know the word. But there is, for some words, there is a regular plural, like in English, right? If you see a word with S, it's generally the plural, right? Pens, cats, houses, or es, right? In Arabic, they have the same. They have certain words that are regular plural, and then you have certain words that are irregular plural. Those you just got to know them. Yeah, I forget to give you this.
And if you know a word that is feminine or masculine, if it's feminine, it has to
Yeah, that's the main sign. There's other signs, but the main sign to know if the word is feminine is the ta. Yeah, that's the main sign. Sometimes the meaning of the word can be feminine, and certain words of nature has fixed gender in Arabic. You just have to know the gender. Like for example, sun in Arabic is feminine. Moon in Arabic is masculine. In English, I think all nature words you treat it as feminine, right? Moon and sun, and you say she for all of them. I think there's a default rule in English. Earth, and so all is she, right? They say mother nature and not father nature. Yeah, but in Arabic, everything has a fixed gender. Fire, all the names for fire is feminine, right? For Jahan, Khalidina fiha, right? Sa'ar, Jahannam, Nar, Saqar, all of them is feminine. Yeah, some are default feminine, some default. Yeah, some default feminine, no matter whether it has ta or it don't have a ta. And the opposite, some are default masculine, whether it has a ta or it don't have a ta, especially names of people. Okay, we done? So we close off here. Any questions from the sister side? All in some.
You supposed to see that then or no?
No. This is wherever it's broadcast. I'm going to show up here.
Oh, okay.
But for when we're doing the conversation, yeah. Okay, we close off here, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum assalam.
So, are
Wa alaikum assalam. You're live on YouTube.